My wife won't get better, there is no cure. And how bad she get, we are not sure. But we will keep going and try to have fun, as this could have happened to anyone. I don't pack up at the end of the day and go to the office to pick up my pay. It does not matter if tomorrow is sun or rain, as when I get up, I will do it all again. Friends around me don't know what I do. The hours in the day seem so few. I can't sit and cry and say it's not fair. The reason I do it is because I care.
I really didn't become aware of the fact that I'd suddenly acquired a title of carer. And I did. I was constantly being told I was a carer. Well, I never applied for the job. I didn't see it advertised. If I had, I probably wouldn't have done it.
My name's Avril. I've looked after my husband John since we married 41 years ago, and he had his first bout of depression just after we married. Really caring for John is making sure he gets up and out of bed, making sure he keeps himself clean and trying to get him motivated to do things. I have to make sure he's taking his pills, make doctor's appointments, make sure I try and get him out occasionally to do things.
And my name is Mark Beach. I knew that I had to take care of my daughter. Her needs are very much with autism, and she also has OCD quite badly. And she also has a daughter, obviously my granddaughter, which I take care of from birth. She's now come up to 7. And I've also got a wife who suffers badly from depression. So I've got school runs to do. I have things to do at home. I have things that a husband would do, a granddad would have to do. It's all part and parcel of it.
Well, my name's Pat. I was a carer for my husband. I was caring for him for about 15 years. He ended up, the last 10 years of his life, he had a more unusual form of dementia called Lewy body.
I didn't know what support was available at the time. It was all new to me. I'd never had any involvement in caring at all. My name's Paul Hirons. I'm a family carer. I care for my wife. I've been caring for her for 16 years now. She has dementia and epilepsy, and 16 years ago she had a long epileptic fit. She's on her own, and she suffered brain damage, which causes dementia. And so I've been looking after her ever since.
Each time it was a case of, are you a carer? No, I'm not. I'm Fran's wife. Until the point came when I was then having to seek extra help because I was finding it quite difficult.
I personally can't switch off, because you know that if you're not doing something, then it'll have a knock-on effect with the family. If one person steps out of the circle, it'll just ruin everything that you do.
It was just struggling on day to day. You don't think yourself as a carer, especially when I was working. I think I really realised that I was a carer when I gave up work, and I started looking after 24/7. I think that's when it really struck, and that was after 7 or 8 years. If I didn't have the support, I'd hate to think where I'd be now. Through carers groups, people had told me about Customer First, etc., and ringing them up. So I phoned them up, said I needed a carers assessment, and they arranged for a social worker to carry it out.
When I had a carers assessment, it was quite funny really, because I had 2 very lovely ladies who visited the house. They phoned me obviously to let me know they were coming, and we talked about what my role is, what I did, how I care for my daughter, which mainly what I've just been through on every day, and it was all documented. But it was documented in a way that was comfortable, because they could identify what I was actually going through. But the assessment went very well. It was very comfortable. It was done at home, and then once I had spoken to my assessor and my daughter had spoken to hers, we sat down with a cup of tea and we chatted away. And then we talked about other things in life, not just all about carers. But the assessment was done very comfortably. I was happy with it. My daughter especially was happy with it.
And when the carer came to do the assessment, she really understood the range of load that there is. There's the physical and the emotional, and the practical and the social. All those different loads are on a carer.
I'm Anne Chadwick, and I have been, as it were, caring for my dad for really quite a long time when he lived in Lowestoft. He looked after himself in his own house till he was nearly 100, but then he came to live with me, and so I've had him living with me for the last 2.5 years, and he has literally just died last week. So it's been quite a new experience being a carer. One of the things that happened when that assessment was done, I was pretty near to breaking point. I'd been non-stop looking after Dad for over a year.
I think if I hadn't had all that help and assistance, I would not have been able to cope with the things I did, and he would have probably had to go into residential care.
One of the things I found really challenging was having concern for my own health, that if I did too much and got too worn out, because I'm 78, rising 79, and you know, I'm not that tough anymore, and I used to really worry about if I get sick, what will happen for Dad.
Yeah, carer's assessment really showed its worth last year when I had to go into hospital for a quadruple heart bypass. Obviously my wife had to go into care. Social services arranged for her to go into a care home for 3 weeks, and I was in hospital for 11 days in the Papworth. When I came home, they arranged for carers to come in and look after me for a few days until I was capable of, you know, getting myself up, washed, dressed, etc. And before my wife came home.
Because then I injured my back lifting my husband, and the social worker said, well, you can't keep on doing what you're doing, so you've got to have help. And Crossroads came in, one of their staff would come in and help me to shower him, and I ended up having to have hospital equipment.
Physios and OTs were wonderful at showing me the equipment that was available, showing me how to lift and so forth. And so I got a great deal of help from all the outside agencies, really.
I do get some respite. She goes to a day centre 2 days a week, which enables me to have guitar lessons and attend Slimming World. Also, 1 day a week we'll get a carer in for 4 hours for a sitting service, which also gives me another break. So,
don't feel guilty about asking for help. Don't feel that it is your sole responsibility to accept this role that you're in. There is help out there. You have to maybe seek it.
I think you've just got to be honest with the assessor. Don't hide anything. Tell them exactly what it's like and what you have to do. They want to know how they can help you, and you need to tell them what you need, your needs are.
Paramount importance is get a carer's assessment, and if you can, attend some carers groups, because you'll get lots of information. And if you're having a care assessment, if you're not sure, if it's a bit daunting and you're worried about that sort of thing, get an advocate in, get someone in. It can be anybody, it can be a family friend, you know, or someone from Age UK or something like that. A lot of the agencies out there will do it for you.
So it became a sacrifice, but I want to add that it was a privilege, because to be able to care for a parent in the way that they had cared for me when I was small, then you just give back and you're glad to do it.
Well, you need support because you can get lost. You know, you need to find yourself at the end of the day and not just be labelled as John's carer. I think it was meeting other people who are in the same situation and making me think about how I felt. Because being a carer, you don't always stop and have time to think how you feel. You know, it's all about the other person.
And it's just wanting somebody to just now and again put their hand on your shoulder and say, it's a bit of a rotten old day today, and that is really important. Yeah.
Piece of Cake by Dean Parkin. Because it feels like no one cares for the carer. Because it's not a job that you apply for. Because it's 24/7. Because it could get you time and help. Because carer is too short a word for what you do. Because you don't know where to turn. Because any of the above applies to you. Because you've had more than you can take. First things first, cup of tea, piece of cake. A carer's assessment is what you need. It may sound scary, something you dread, like a date with a dentist or coffee with an auntie you hate, and the house is such a mess. But it's only a chat, not a test. A chance to talk to a person who will listen, can understand. Someone with the best recommendations to make. Put the kettle on, cup of tea, piece of cake. It could be a bath lift installed, or visits from a specialist nurse. Or have you tried these, or maybe those? Or money to buy help with the cooking and cleaning, or time for yourself. They can see how you're feeling. And daycare, an afternoon out, or a holiday getaway, because without doubt you deserve this break. Let's drink to that. Cup of tea, piece of cake.